Jai Shri Ram. In this talk, I am trying to deconstruct Ekalavya. Deconstruction is examining the underlying assumptions behind any ideology, thought, or whatever. So, Ekalavya is a character who has been glorified for some good reasons, but at the same time, unfortunately, such a lot of atrocity literature has been compiled by Christian and Islamic and Marxist apologists. Now, an apologist, APOLOGIST. Apologist means one who speaks or writes in defense of a controversial belief system or ideology. Because Christianity and Islam are very clear. They are exclusivist religions. They claim that only their followers will go to heaven, and they have a simple duty to proselytize, that is, convert or kill the infidel. So that much is very, very clear. They cannot deny it. The punishment for apostasy is death. Punishment for blasphemy is death. Questioning is not allowed. And Hinduism also has its own share of a lot of irrational belief systems. But nowhere will you find this kind of a dangerous idea where the infidel or the unbeliever has to be converted or killed. In fact, there is no conversion at all in Hinduism. Now, the problem with Ekalavya is that Ekalavya is being used by some people whose mind has been contaminated with the atrocity literature created by Christians, Muslims and Marxist apologists. That, hey, hello, you people are being exploited by the upper caste. In fact, caste does not exist. Theoretically, there is no caste in Hinduism. We have only Jati, Kula, Varna and Gotra, which I have discussed in an earlier video. Now, it is sad that many of our Hindu brothers who come from different kulams, they are obsessed with the misplaced kind of notion that all the upper kulam, people of upper kulams have been exploiting, discriminating and marginalizing them, which is not true. It is true that discrimination existed then and in horrible forms. That much also we agree fully. Even now it exists. But the question is, where does discrimination not exist? Dr. Ambedkar clearly said, Islam is not a universal brotherhood. It is a closed system of brotherhood only for Muslims, and within Muslims also they have 72 denominations, sect. And each sect considers the other 71 as infidels who must be either converted or killed. Now, in Christianity, 40,000 denominations are there. Just imagine, one book. It's not one book. Bible is not one book. 66 books, I think, Roman Catholics follow. Protestants have 55. And each denomination has a different list, number of books. How can that be possible? After all, if there was only one Jesus Christ, why are the number of books varying? They cannot answer this question. So, let us keep that aside. Now, it is a sad situation that when Veda is clearly saying, Shrunvantu Vishve Amrutasya Putra Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu, Veda is addressing all mankind as children of immortality. Children of immortality, Amrutasya Putra. Dr. Ambedkar admired many of the Vedic mantras and all that. Of course, unfortunately, he was not a scholar of Sanskrit, but he had the humility to admit that he was not a scholar of Sanskrit. He read the mistranslated, distorted versions of our Vedas by the Western Indologists, who have a simple agenda to make Hindus feel sorry for themselves and develop self-loathing and hatred for their own scriptures so that they can be easily converted. So let us keep that aside for some time. Now, many people use this Ekalavya as some kind of a stick with which to beat the Brahmins, and they seem to be deriving some pleasure by doing so. Now, just because Drona did what he did, first of all, you cannot blame the whole of the Brahmin community. And if you rationally examine the whole whole situation. Drona, now people will attack me on the grounds that I could be a Brahmin, and that is why I am defending Drona. Well, I am a Brahmin, and I am defending Drona also. But Drona is a very complicated, complex character. See, situations were such that even good men fought on the wrong side of the war. Drona fought on the wrong side of the war, and he had to be killed by deception, because he himself used deception. See, when greed and selfish personal goals become more important than dharma, then however learned you might be, you deserve to be punished. That's what happened to Bhishma, Drona, and or the other Karna. So many other characters are there. So now Ekalavya is actually, let us look at Ekalavya. You can draw your own conclusions after I finish this entire discussion. So in sum, Ekalavya is an extremely complex character, and personally, after taking everything into account holistically, I think Ekalavya deserved to die because of his indiscretions and his alignment with the evil-minded people. Now let's look at Ekalavya. I have constructed this chart, and there are lots of things I have noted down. Correct me if I am wrong. I have done my research. If you think there is something more that can be added, please feel free. And there is no intention to offend or insult anybody, but Ekalavya has to be understood. First thing is, Ekalavya was not a Girijan. He was not an Adivasi. He is not an aborigine. The word aborigine means one who was the original settler, ancient, the oldest settlers, the most original settlers of a land, aborigine. So many scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people in our country. First of all, I repeatedly told you this word caste is not there, but it has been foisted on us, and so much so that it has become part of our, I think the word is there in the constitution too, and so that is, I think, very sad. We should kick this word out because there is no caste. This word was imposed on us. It's a Portuguese word brought in by Lord Risley, who then identified some 6,500 castes as if that is the end of the matter. No, there are innumerable kulams. Jati is lineage, kulam is profession, varna is psychological temperament, gotra is within lineage. Gotra means direct descent from a common male ancestor. So sagotra marriages are not allowed because that will amount to interbreeding, and that will cause recessive genes to get together, and inbreeding will result in children being born with congenital deformities. So our system is the most scientific system. Eugenics, EUGENICS. Eugenics is the science of improvement of race. Eugenics is used for dogs and horses and cows, but for humans, nowhere is there any institute in the world which tries to do research into how to improve the human race. Our rishis had understood that also. That is why we have this Jati, Kula, Varna, Gotra system, and Varna Ashrama is also there. So these are purely scientific. If somebody doesn't like my discussion, they can stop listening to it. There is no need to get abusive and angry. It is unfortunate we have lost the capacity for rational discourse, decent discourse. In our parliament also, all kinds of jokers are getting there, and they are using abusive language. They are hollering, shouting. Is that how a parliament should function? In fact, in Manusmriti, sabham va praveshtavyam, sabham va na praveshtavyam, vaktavyam va samanjasam. Okay, sabham va praveshtavyam, vaktavyam va samanjasam, abhruvan vibhruvan va api naro bhavati kilbishi. Sabham va praveshtavyam, vaktavyam va samanjasam, abhruvan vibhruvan va api naro bhavati kilbishi. Manu says, don't enter this legislature, this body of decision making body. Sabham va praveshtavyam, vaktavyam va samanjasam. Place your opinion, well considered opinion, rational opinion, politely. Abhruvan vibhruvan vapi. If you do not speak or if you tell lies, you will be committing a papam. Sin is a Christian concept which I don't agree with. Sin is a irrational concept of disobedience of God's word by eating the fruit of knowledge. I have serious problems with that. So in Hinduism we don't have any sin, we have papam. Papam is negative activity which will result in negative consequences. So this is written in the old parliament on the dome near the second lift. This Manusmriti shloka is there. I don't know how many parliaments are reading it. Sabham va na praveshtavyam. I think it is na. Sabham va na praveshtavyam. Don't enter if you cannot follow these rules. Sabham va na praveshtavyam vaktavyam va samanjasam abhruvan vibhruvan va api naro bhavati kilbishi. Kilbisham means papa. So this is the great ideal we should live up to once we are stepping into the legislature. Is that happening? What kind of people are going there? Is there any vadam at all? 10:32 Krishna says vada pravadatamaham. The legislature should be a body where people get together to know the truth and take better decisions. We should pool our knowledge, not our ignorance. Unfortunately, only ignorance is getting pooled, and only a babble, shouting matches and all kinds of nonsense is going on. Very rarely you have any decent debate. It's a sad situation. So, first of all, Ekalavya is not a Girijan. He is not an aborigine or Adivasi, Vanavasi. He was a cousin of Krishna. Now, first thing is, I think this is a sledgehammer blow. If any person from the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe community thinks that Ekalavya is a member of their clan or tribe or blood relation or ilk, ILK is the English word, they are grossly mistaken. Ekalavya is a cousin of Sri Krishna. Please check up, read. There are so many pseudo intellectuals who are promoting utter nonsense with their ignorance, and the fools are becoming idiots. What a sad situation. Don't you think that is a big blow? Ekalavya was a cousin of Sri Krishna. What more do you want? Now, he was actually lost or abandoned. We do not know what happened. So there is a lot of lapse in information. So he was abandoned or lost when they were probably fleeing or going in a forest, and somebody picked up, and he was adopted by Nishada Raja. Nishada Raja, and whose name, the Nishada Raja's name was Hiranya Dhanu. So Ekalavya became the adopted son of Nishada Raja Hiranya Dhanu, and Hiranya Dhanu was a commander in Jarasandha's army. Now please understand, Hiranya Dhanu was a commander in Jarasandha's army. Jarasandha is the father-in-law of Kamsa, and Hiranya Dhanu's adopted son is Ekalavya. Jarasandha was a scoundrel. He was physically very strong, equal to Bhima, and finally actually Bhima killed him. That's a different thing, we will discuss that later. Jarasandha attacked Mathura 17 times. He could not defeat, but he was continuously harassing, hazing. So Krishna decided that he will shift his capital to Dwarka because unnecessary warring. He tried his best to avoid war. Jarasandha did not realize that even though he attacked 17 times, he could not defeat Krishna and Balarama. This fellow should have stopped. To avoid all this, Krishna shifted the capital to Dwarka. So that is one bit of evidence for you that only as a last resort Krishna would take up violence. Now, Jarasandha was very powerful. He had an Akshohini. If he had joined Kauravas, he would have joined, and then Duryodhana's army would have become very strong. So Krishna cleverly, before the war commenced, he, Arjuna and Bhima went to Jarasandha disguised as ordinary people, and or perhaps they were not even disguised. They openly challenged him to a physical duel, and Bhima killed him. They fought for some 15 days or so, every day wrestling, and finally Jarasandha was killed, but he would get revived because he had a boon. So Jarasandha's body was cut up into two pieces and put reversed the pieces, because even if the body is torn and kept aside, they will come together and fuse. So these are all mythical characters. Anyway, let us leave that part. So this is real politic for you. Krishna ensured that before the battle we should make sure that the allies of the enemy are slowly, quietly eliminated. That's exactly what Krishna did. Because Jarasandha was in league with the wrong people. He was himself evil. Now, Jarasandha was the father-in-law of Kamsa. What more do you want? And being brought up under Hiranyadhanyu in the army of Jarasandha, Ekalavya actually attacked Dwaraka. When Jarasandha attacked Mathura, and also when Jarasandha tried to attack, Jarasandha died. After that, these chaps attacked Dwaraka. Ekalavya attacked Dwaraka along with Poundraka. Poundraka is another funny character who claimed that he is the real Krishna and this fellow is fake Krishna. And finally he died at the hands of Krishna. This Poundraka is a funny character in Bhagavatam. You will find this fellow got a discus made, he got everything, all the paraphernalia of Krishna, he got all these things artificially made, and he claimed that he is the real Vasudeva. So Poundraka is a funny character. Along with Poundraka, Ekalavya went and attacked Dwaraka, and he died in the hands of Krishna. So when people die in the hands of Krishna or Rama, they get moksha. That is salvation. That is the highest blessing. So even Sambhuka in Ramayana died at the hands of Rama, and he achieved much more than what he wanted to achieve. He wanted to go to heaven with a physical body. Rama gave him moksha. That is much higher. That is the Sammam Bonam. That is redemption, freedom from all suffering, and the capacity. All the siddhis are given, except the siddhi of total creation and annihilation of total creation. So Rama conferred a ultimate blessing on Sambhuka by killing him. Similarly, Ekalavya died at the hands of Krishna and got moksha. Now let us logically proceed. You can take a screenshot. One I have put number 1 there, unfortunately used as an example to malign Brahmins wholesale. So that is bad. They should stop doing it. Now Ekalavya actually stole important information about weapons of mass destruction from Dronacharya. Now they tell us that Ekalavya put an idol of Dronacharya, and just by keeping an idol he practiced archery and became a great archer. Only an idiot can believe this nonsense. Can anybody? If that is true, then Bhishmacharya should not have hired Dronacharya to give martial arts training to the Pandavas and Kauravas. He could have simply kept a statue of Dronacharya and everyone. Today, instead of going to engineering college, we should actually get a statue of Vishveshwaraya, you know, Vishwa, that Papu said Vishwaraya, Raja, something like that. Vishveshwaraya, such a great engineer. We should keep a statue of Vishveshwaraya in our home, and instead of going to engineering colleges, you should daily worship him and you will become a great engineer. And medical students should have a statue of Shushruta and Charvaka and many great doctors, their statues and pictures and photographs in the puja room, and start doing puja. Why are you going to medical college? So I don't buy this nonsense. So Ekalavya must have stolen that means he was secretly observing. Because he was a Nishada Raja, he was aware of how to camouflage himself. Secretly he observed and learnt martial arts. And these are all dangerous martial arts, weapons of mass destruction. Today, would we give training in weapons of mass destruction to criminals and thugs in the jails? No. America has learnt bitter lessons. Crop dusters training, that is what they took, and finally they bombed the Twin Towers. Today Americans will not give any training to anybody who seems suspicious. Crop duster, that is a harmless seeming use, but they learnt how to fly the aeroplanes and slammed those aeroplanes into the buildings. So weapon trainings, dangerous martial arts cannot be given to people whose integrity is questionable. So Dronacharya did the right thing. See, even today, if I copy something from any book, plagiarism software, I can be hauled up. I'll have to pay millions of dollars in fine, isn't it? So, or finally you will be sent to jail. Copyright violation. Now just imagine copyright violation of secrets about weapons of mass destruction. That is the worst crime. If Drona had wanted, he could have got Ekalavya beheaded instantly. But Drona, after all, took one thumb. And after taking the thumb, I believe Drona felt guilty. And so Drona trained Ekalavya in using the left hand. So Ekalavya became ambidextrous and acquired as much skill as he would have had, or perhaps just a little less without the right hand. So that was Drona's magnanimity. This thing is forgotten. So please listen carefully, note down the points. Now I'll go back to the chart. 1. Unfortunately, Ekalavya is used as an example to malign Brahmins wholesale. Sweeping generalizations and stereotyping of Brahmins, hate mongering, divisive politics, all these are done against Brahmins, which I think is unnecessary, unwanted, extremely unfortunate, not to be done. Because we all know that evil people are there in every kulam. Let us not broad brush everybody. Some of our greatest saints were Dalits. Valmiki is a Dalit. Vyasa is a Dalit. Tukaram is a Dalit. Chhatrapati Shivaji is a Dalit. The number is, in fact, I think we have more Dalit saints. Chokka Mela is a Dalit. Are baapre. I can go on and on and on. So don't give me this crap that Dalits were ill-treated. That is rubbish. Yes, they were. They are. And probably in future, let us hope they won't be. In fact, everyone is ill-treated in every religion. In fact, in the other religions, they should be converted or killed. See, in theory, there is no evil. In practice, some evil has crept in. Our job is to eliminate that. Haindava sodara sarve na Hindu patito bhavet. Mama diksha Hindu raksha mama mantra samanata. Adi Shankaracharya said. Do not consider any Hindu as fallen. There is nobody is fallen. In the Vedas, you have the Purusha Suktam. All of us are born from the same supreme divine body of Sri Krishna, Purushottama. If Dalits are supposed to be born from the feet, Shudras are born from the feet, we bow to the feet, isn't it? When you go to the temple, you touch the feet of the deity. So we touch the feet. So when we are touching the feet, they should be feeling proud actually. And God's body, that is a metaphor, by the way. It is simply a metaphor saying that we are all divine. Amrutasya Putra, all coming out of the same, because nothing can be beyond God. It is deeply philosophical. Islam and Christianity they cannot come anywhere near the philosophy. Our philosophy is founded on sound logic. So, Brahmins from the head, Kshatriyas from the shoulder, Vaishyas from the thighs, and Shudras from the feet are all divine. There is no such thing as Krishna's feet are less divine than Krishna's head. Rubbish, nonsense. So, second, Krodha Vasha. Ekalavya's original name was Krodha Vasha. He was reborn as Ekalavya. Madhvacharya, who is a reincarnation of Mukhya Prana. Madhvacharya, in a grantha, in a tome, he wrote, the name of that is Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnayam, in which Madhvacharya, please understand, Vayu, he is reborn Vayu, and he was reborn as Mukhya Prana in the Satya Yuga, Hanuman in the Treta Yuga, Bhima in the Dwapara Yuga, and Madhvacharya in the Kali Yuga. So Madhvacharya is an incarnation of Mukhya Prana, Manasa Putra of Brahma. So Madhvacharya, whatever he says is Aptavakyam. You cannot question that. And whom should we trust? Madhvacharya or these jokers, those Western Indologists and Islamic, Christian and Marxist apologists? Should we trust them or should we trust Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya? Madhvacharya writes that Ekalavya is actually all these characters descended from Vaikuntham to perform this Leela and teach us lessons. That this is how life you have to live, otherwise you will face the music. So Ekalavya is also fulfilling a divine role. Originally he was an Asura, Krodha Vasha, but reborn as Ekalavya to fulfill his function in this divine drama. Okay, so I have given you the second point. Now third point, where is that? Third point, Whom should we trust is the question. I already asked that. Fourth is the cousin of Krishna. First one itself I told you. Fifth, wrong upbringing made him like Karna. So please, nature nurture debate. Even if the seed is good, if a mango seed, top quality mango seed, but if you bad soil, poor nutrition, no water, then it will be a stunted tree. Anyway, I don't want to debate on this. 5. Wrong upbringing made him like Karna. Karna was the fellow who called Draupadi Lanja, whore, prostitute, and also told her, marry one of us, your husbands are impotent, and also gave the idea of stripping her. So Karna is a scoundrel, and Karna knew all the evil plans, Lakshagraha burning. That is why Krishna bombards Karna. When in the war, in the battle, when Karna's chariot was stuck in the ground, Karna started waxing eloquent about dharma, and Krishna ridicules him. Now we are talking about dharma. What happened to dharma when you all killed Abhimanyu, a boy of 16-year-old, and all of you 6 major warriors and 8 other fellows, 14 people, and you, Karna, attacked him from behind? Where was your dharma at that time? So Karna hanged his head in shame. 5th one. Now 6th one. No rationality in the yarn that he became a Maharati just by worshipping Drona's idol. I just discussed that. Just by keeping an idol you cannot learn. He must have secretly observed. 7. Common intention conspiracy. See, Ekalavya was in league with the criminals. Jarasandha, Paundraka, Suvala, all of them. So even under Indian Penal Code, common intention, conspiracy, that punishment will be given to this man. But he anyway got moksha. So Drona, number 8, Drona could have ordered his death for stealing military secrets, vital for state security, or treason, sedition, Deshadroham charge, section 124 IPC, or life imprisonment at least. But nothing. He was let off with just one thumb being cut off. Had he participated in the Kurukshetra, then it would have been a different story. That is why Ekalavya fought against Krishna, and Krishna killed him prior to the war, eliminating all these fellows. Krishna is actually teaching us the deepest lessons of politics and polity, how to run a nation, Rashtra. Okay. Now Drona, some more points I would like to say. Drona just deprived a thumb, he could have killed him. Drona accepted Drishtadyumna, who was purportedly born to kill him. Don't you think that's great of Drona? Drona accepted Karna, who was supposed to be a Sutaputra, against whom everyone was discriminating, but he accepted Karna also. And the charge that he rejected Ekalavya for being a Shudra totally falls apart. When Drona accepted Drishtadyumna and Karna for being a Sutaputra, he would have accepted. The reason for not accepting are very clear. Dronas with his insight, divine insight, after all these people are divine. All of us can acquire that siddhi. Ritambhara siddhi, Yoga Sutras, please study. So, some people have that ability to look at others and understand their temperament. So, Drona rejected Ekalavya because perhaps he could suspect, he knew this fellow is Krodhavasha, reborn, and all this drama is going on, Krishna Leela is going on, military secrets cannot be parted. On top of it, he is the son of Nishadharaj, Hiranyadhanu, who is a commander in Jarasandha's army. So all these things are there. So finally I will see, is there anything I left? So I think I have told you everything. What can we learn from Ekalavya's life? That even if you are very great and competent and capable, if you don't be on the side of dharma, Krishna will finish you. Yutam Chalayata must meet, 1036. And I have listed some thought experiments. Simple questions. Would we impart weapons training to any Tom, Dick and Harry whose antecedents don't inspire confidence? Would you teach, would you impart weapons training to a criminal, a recidivist? What happened to the Twin Towers? Would USA ever allow a potential -- Juhadi into flight training classes? Crop duster? No. So when actually Krishna went to rescue his grandson Aniruddha from Salva, that's another big story. At that time, this fellow Ekalavya and Poundraka attacked Dwarka. Sensing that Krishna is not there, they attacked. And Krishna finished Salva and came back. In the meanwhile, Dwarka was being defended by Pradyumna and Satyaki. So Krishna came back after killing Salva, rescuing his grandson, came back, killed Poundraka and Ekalavya. So first point I am repeating, Ekalavya is not a Girijan, not a Adivasi. He was a cousin of Krishna. I think this is the end of the discussion. Please listen carefully and forward it to any person who mistakenly think that Ekalavya is their Dalit hero. No, Dalit heroes are Vyasa and Valmiki and Tukaram. Oh my God, Chhatrapati Shivaji is a Dalit hero. Who is our hero? Everyone's hero. Jai Shri Ram.